Sup, I am a Reiki master teacher and intuitive, and today we have a special healing session. It's all about working with your mind, the energy around you, and outlook. So change your outlook, not your path. Sometimes in life, we think that just because we have certain feelings or certain setbacks, that we're not on the right path. When we are on the right path, then that might cause us to restart over and over and over again, thinking that if we're on the right path, everything is going to be so easy or something like that. And so I invite you in this space to just relax and to relieve and release that pressure that you may be putting on yourself for everything to go perfect, babies. Goodness gracious. So if you're new, welcome babies. This is your nightly self-care routine. This is a place where you come, you take care of yourself. I love on you. I give you some good energy, but most importantly, you set this time out for yourself and you take care of yourself. So welcome babies. So welcome to all my new babies, and welcome back to all my returning babies. Mama loves you. So we start the session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer, it's just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and to bring us together as a community and as a collective, this collective consciousness. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. Okay, may I touch you? Okay, you ready? Dear universe, and all for the highest vibrational good only, please connect us to our highest self and invalidate information for our highest good only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that brings light up through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe. Ashe. Okay, so babies, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna do some cleansing. So, do we want a history lesson? I'll save the history lesson for the Reiki Master Teacher cohort on herbs, but I'll go with our go-to herbs. That's an Easter egg. We're gonna go with some cinnamon for some cleansing, per usual, and breathe that in and out. And so the wonderful thing about cinnamon is very grounding. It's actually really good for money cleanses. Cinnamon at the front door. And what I've noticed about burning cinnamon is that it can burn a very, very long time. The smoke typically isn't that much, and the flame really doesn't burn that bright, but it can burn, or it can stay lit right there for quite a while, whereas other things with a greater smoke might have already gone out. And so this is just a reminder that, you know, sometimes instead of feeling like you gotta burn bright, just doing the best you can, just being consistent where you can is probably more important than feeling like you have to be perfect all the time, or feeling like you have to kind of be on your A game all the time, you know. I know how it feels to be a perfectionist. And it was really bad when I was in high school. But I get it now, you know. It was all an opportunity to have a deeper relationship with myself and to slow down. Because there's almost like this false sense that you can control things. You can put forth effort, you can shape, but ultimately things can be a mystery at the same time. And so when you're a perfectionist, perfectionist. You think that doing these things down to the last detail puts you in a sense of control, or at least makes you feel better, when at the end of the day it's more of like, it's just an opportunity to learn that even if you do everything right, some things don't turn out the way that you want them to. But that doesn't mean that you should have a negative association to it. And also, the truth is, just do the best you can. You know, there's a big, full, bright life to live that doesn't require you to be perfect at all times. And it is in those moments of imperfection where we find our next motivation, we find our new path, we find that somehow unconsciously we've been working up to something great and just didn't even realize that's what we were doing. So you don't have to control everything. So the path that you have in front of you, I'm gonna trust that you know what you like. You've lived a long enough life to know what are some things you're passionate about, and what are some areas that you've already traveled down in your life. And I'm just in this moment trying to get you comfortable with accepting those things that you love, because a lot of times people know what they love, but they practice or they reinforce not trusting themselves. So just simply by liking something, they just automatically don't trust it. And so in this moment, I'm trying to do the work to just clear that out for you, so you don't feel like you have to associate your hopes and dreams with something negative. Okay. And just clear that out. Now, on top of that, let's take it to a deeper level, which is understanding that you're going to feel different at different times in the journey. Sometimes you're going to feel motivated, sometimes you're going to feel stagnant, sometimes you're going to feel like you're moving fast, sometimes you feel like you're not moving at all, sometimes you feel like you're moving backwards. There's going to be big things that happen in a good way, or big things that happen in a not so good way. That is a part of life, but that in no way means that the path is not right. If you wake up every morning and you feel this desire to, or this life purpose to have whatever this, stuff is that you're doing, then that's a part of the journey. It is the resiliency that is building character and creating the foundation of whatever it is that you are here to share with the universe, or a little gift that the universe has given to you to share with us in the physical. So don't confuse, some days you might not feel so good, or having bad days, or just things not going the way that you thought, as, oh, am I in the wrong path? The wrong path is more of like you're doing it for someone else. You're not really, there's no desire there. You think it's a kind of get there quick kind of situation. Oh, I want to do this because rationally it makes sense, as opposed to you're passionate about it. And also, this is really a practice on vulnerability. Can you imagine how vulnerable you have to be with yourself to follow your path, your dreams, and to build and shape it and mold it in a way where it can nourish you, can take care of you financially, can support you energetically and internally. And that takes time. That takes time. That takes molding, and that takes shifting, and that takes movement. And that's a part of the process. I have all of these breaths in and out. And find how you feel. Find your courage, find your second wind, or find your peace and relax and chill. You know, I've been saying this for almost 4 years. You can't get it wrong. Even when you think that you're making choices in your life that aren't necessarily a straight path to where you think you need to go. All these things you're doing, they're building and shaping you for your next, whatever that is. So you cannot get it wrong. All you have to do is just experience, enjoy, be frustrated sometimes. All of those things are okay. They're acceptable human reactions to life. But I think we live in a time where information comes to us so quickly that we think that what we see is reality, meaning that when we see these curated lives, or that we see these, glimpses into the happy moments of people's lives, that we think that that's the life they're living all the time. When I think everybody has their good days, their bad days, their happy days, their sad days, their motivated days, their, less motivated days. The goal isn't to have a lot of good days. The goal, I think, is more of self-acceptance, to still be in the journey with yourself regardless of if the days are good or not so good. To still see that purpose even when you're nervous or when you're excited. And I think that it might be, it's different when it comes to age. If you're younger and all you've known is like a world of social media, it's going to be harder to think outside the box. If you're older and you've known a life before social media, you'll get it, but it'll be harder to break the habits that you've already established in your life. So, just understand that you have all the power within you to shift your mindset, to change your mind, to grow. I find myself growing within cycles, sometimes daily, sometimes a couple of months, or shifting over the years. And I'm one of those people that I like to question and challenge everything, and I challenge everything that I believe in, or I see as truth, because I think that truth is ever expanding. That's why I like history so much, because history isn't really so concrete as we think. The more that history goes forward, the more references that we discover from the past, and history gets to expand. And so I like to look at life in that kind of way as well, that it is expanding, that I am expanding, that I am growing, that I have a healthy cynicism and a healthy optimism towards most things, that maybe perhaps that cycle of self-acceptance over and over and over again, with new outcomes that we encounter each day to kind of test us, is probably more important than actually reaching whatever that goal is. Do you actually like yourself? Regardless of what you see, what you're being exposed to, what someone tells you, can you still like yourself? Even if it feels like the world doesn't like you, or sometimes I think it's that, not that the world doesn't like you, sometimes it just be in the mind, because maybe you don't see a representation of you, both in those more systemic levels or on an individual level, and I think on an individual level that kind of makes more sense because you're the only you out there. No one's gonna walk the path the way that you did. That's why I think it's important to make those happy and healthy mistakes and take your time. Yeah, I think that as time expands, I know I personally just become less rigid of things having to happen a certain way, about outcomes needing to be set. And I like to go on adventures. Every 10 years I like to go on an adventure. I'll tell myself, like, this is the adventure that I'm going on. I haven't had many 10 years, but I like to think, well, what do I want to accomplish here? And just, surrender to the universe, let it happen, enjoy it, go with it, not doubt yourself, not think that just because it's you that for some reason it won't work out. I don't think that that's fair, because I think that at the end of the day we represent a collective consciousness, a collective energy of the universe, and we want to be great stewards of the universe, a great example of the universe. And I think a part of that is 100% self-acceptance, even when times are tough, when times are great, when time is moving fast and when time is moving slow, and accepting that we're allowed to have feelings in all kinds of ways. So I hope that that message really met you where you were at, and hopefully just took some of the pressure off of feeling like you're not where you need to be, because that's not the case at all. It's always my intention in this community that it is a space in which people feel as though they can just come and just relax, find their own way, wander about, get to some epiphany, then maybe challenge and question again, but just know that it didn't have to be a community where you had to think a certain way or you had to follow a certain path, that there was always room for growth, there was room for change, there was room for a multitude of expressions. But I think the most important thing is a place of community where you can come and be surrounded by people who are on a similar path to you, just trying to find their way and to take the pressures of life off. So I hope that that's what comes across. That's definitely my intention. And thank you for allowing me to host this space. It brings a lot of interesting experiences into my life, flowing in a direction back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and just begin to calm yourself, ease your mind, ease your thoughts, ease any tension in your body, release it, let it go. Release that, and release that. And begin to move whatever needs to be moved within you energetically. Inhaling and exhaling and going at your own flow. I'm going to get a candle and I'm going to light it and use cinnamon to cleanse away symbols in order to activate our intention of transformation and change in the healing, the full healing process, and movement through your shifts of energy in your seasons. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Just some more of this cinnamon working through your energy. How are you? How are you, sweetness? How has life been going and flowing? What changes do you want to make to your outside energy? That'll help us work on the inside energy. How's it going? How's it flowing? How is it for you? How is it for you? Okay. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay. Yes, let's move to that energy and just shift it left and right and forward and back and activate those parts of you that's ready to change. Time to let go of the old person you used to know and embrace the person you want to become. But honestly, you don't really change. Really, what happens is just you are now embarking on a new energy, and you're just leaving an old energy behind. Are you ready to embrace this new energy? Are you ready to embrace this new energy? Are you ready to step forward in your life and be excited about this new chapter, new step? You know, life is cyclical. Things have the same themes, they just show up in slightly different form. And it's just so interesting that that's how it looks. Just a slightly different form. Slightly different form. But the same theme. And when you're ready to let a theme go, you actively choose not to respond in the same way that you always had. And in turn, you respond in better ways. That's how, if you want to change the external energy, it starts with those internal shifts. It starts with the core of you knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. And guiding yourself in that direction. Guiding yourself in that direction. Guiding yourself in that direction. Being adaptable and ready for change, ready for shifts, ready for movements. But embracing the new chapter, the next chapter, the exciting chapter. Exciting. Moving through that. And finding that space. That place. That space. That place. Just working through that energy. Working through it. Working through it. So if you're new to the community, welcome, 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 babies. This is your nightly, daily, or whenever time, self-care routine. So here you come, you take care of yourself. We do some energy work, and perhaps you drift off to sleep, or you feel better about, someone trying to get you all one, So if you're new to the community, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now a part of the family, so you are one of my babies. But as you know, extra special to the returning babies. So if you're returning babies, something's for you is some kisses. Kisses on the noggin. If you're returning, Mama loves you. So let's go ahead and get started today. We start the session off with a prayer. It's not a religious prayer. It's a prayer to root us in our individual experience and bring us together as a community and as a collective. So what is a spiritual prayer? So it's really important for you to know the difference between the two. And because consent matters, to have your permission to say a prayer. Okay, may I touch you? Okay. Hand on the forehead noggin. It's gonna be the new thing, the noggins. I'm gonna make that a new level in the membership, the noggins. Yeah, the noggins. I don't know. The noggins. It is come with a groove. Come with a groove. Come with a groove. Okay, my bad. So hand on the forehead noggin. Hand underneath. Hands hard. Let's get started. Dear universe and all for the highest vibrational good only, please allow us to validate information for our highest good only and connect to our highest self only. Please allow us to release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out to us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Okay. So, let's start with some protection over you. And when it comes to protection, what we're doing here is we're clearing the path. We're clearing the weeds in front of you, the tall grass in front of you. Because sometimes when we're on our journey and we have no clue where we're going, it's not because there's not a path in front of us. We just can't see with all these overgrown plants. So I'm gonna get some cinnamon going as well too, because we're gonna smoke it out. you know what? I'm actually gonna give you something real strong. Because I want to just an immediate energy shift. So I'm gonna use some Mugwort. So Mugwort is used in moxibustion, and it's burned. But the variations of the species of Mugwort can be found in Europe, can be found in various parts of Asia, because we can see this in traditional Chinese medicine, and we can also see it in Ayurvedic medicine, as well as different places around the world. And so this is a healing herb that we can bring into it. We're going to cleanse out, okay? I actually have a torch. Okay, I just need a little bit. Beautiful. So, get this going and flowing. The benefit of long nails. So take that on. This right here is going to instantly shift you. You can see it right there. Just gonna remove things from the past. It's gonna bring things clear in the future, and just to heal you. Get this going a little bit more. Just work through that. Work through that. Again, no right or wrong way. Let's just work through this. And it's powerful herb and cleansing medicine. Again, it's a fun project of mine to not only identify the herbs, but see where they're used for and where they came from, because it explains a lot with the power. It explains a lot with the power that they hold and that collective energy of how they were used. Okay. So, that and so other uses for this, besides the moxibustion, would be it is consumed. So in Ayurveda, it is consumed, and it's for a myriad of hormonal problems, as well as anxiety in children. So children with ADD and things like that. Instead of using the strong medications, this is prescribed for that. And the way that you can learn more about this is just go to Google Scholar and just put in Mugwort and start to read some of those journal articles. Get that last bit of stuff. So I'm gonna tell y'all, when it comes to herbs, I don't usually just look at regular websites. I'm at the point now where I only look at textbooks and Google Scholar, or journal articles and things like that, because it's really important to understand how these things impact us on multiple levels, and that due diligence that comes from the research community, I think, is really important in our healing journey, so that we can kind of clamp down on misinformation. So now, how do you feel? Because that thing is no joke. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? Let you be protected. Let you be guided. Let you be loved. Let you see the path you want to go on. Let you be protected. Let you be guided. Let you be loved. Let you see the path you need to go on. Let you be protected, guided, loved, and see the path you need to go on. Protected, guided, and loved, and see the path you need to go on. Protected, guided, and loved, and see the Well, family, we had an excellent session today. And again, if there are times where you feel alone, you feel vulnerable, watch the video over again. You watch it as many times as you need to watch it to change your energy, especially with that mugwort. That is a powerful, powerful herb that we used both in cleansing and medicinal purposes. So that will definitely, I'm telling you, definitely shift that energy of what's going on. So if you need extra help, you can always book a session with me. We do have an opening, so for the next 2 weeks there are 2 positions that are open: the SEO virtual assistant and the audio video editor. And so if you would like to apply for that, just email me at reikihealinghope@gmail.com to learn more about that. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to say that I'm really excited about the upcoming month. The upcoming month is going to be called Rebirth, and so I'm going to be putting more about this on Patreon and probably a small video in the main community. And so it's going to mostly, the initiative we're going to take is going to really be happening on Patreon. We're going to have a 2-month healing plan. We're going to do some cleansing, so that's going to be some nutritional aspect of things that we will be taking in our bodies, as well as a cleansing. So we're going to be meeting on a weekly basis for those 2 months on a Sunday, probably in the morning or the evening EST for me. And we're going to get through what we need to leave in this year so that we can move on and have a really prosperous 2023, okay? And so go ahead and sign up for the Patreon community. I'm going to be posting something about that on the community soon. So that's where we're going to do that work. The videos here in the main community will still hold up to that rebirth energy. But to be in the group, we're going to be doing that on the Patreon community. And sometimes people don't go on Patreon because they're intimidated to think that it is some crazy price. No, it's only $3 a month. So this is a total of $6 for you if you count it from, the months. And however whenever you sign up. So just keep that in mind, and this is a great way to be in collective and just to be accountable to your practice and to go into this new year feeling a new level of wellness and happiness. So if no one has said it, let me go ahead and say it. I love you, but love yourself more. Take care of yourself more. Have more compassion for yourself. Have more understanding for yourself. Special healing session. It is all about embracing the change. So welcome to Celebrate December. Love this. This is a time of celebration for this entire year and for yourself and on this journey. So I want you to embrace just enjoying the moment. Be careful for this Venus and Capricorn and retrograde energy that is showing up, because it might want to play a little trickster energy on you. But with Mars going into Sagittarius and leaving Scorpio, I think that you're going to feel a lot more free in general. So I just want to give you that little bit of tea to put on you before we get started in the session. So if you're new to the community, welcome, 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 babies. This is your nightly self-care routine. So babies, you do whatever it is you need to do. Sometimes people like to do creative things and they like to use it to help them focus and study and things like that, or just relax and enjoy the actual session itself. So this is your time. It is a part of your self-care journey. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And for all my babies returning, welcome back. Mama loves you. If you would like extra support, you can join us on the Patreon community, and there's some fun stuff too, like the weekly moon cycle readings on a Reiki Tarot, the podcast Organize Your Purpose, and Reiki Healing Hope Speaks. Have you all noticed that? Which is non-ASMR Reiki. So if you'd like to share it with your friends who are not into ASMR, or you would like to, talk about these things and not always hear me whisper, that's great for that. And all the other stuff, like you can listen to these sessions on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. So as we start our session off with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. It's just a prayer to root us in our individual healing experience and bring us together as community. And because consent matters, do I have your permission to say a prayer? embracing this change. This gives you definitely an opportunity to reflect on your year. How'd it go, baby? How'd it go, sweetheart? How did the year go? What did you discover? What did you learn? It was very much so a reorganizing of the energy, a recalibrating, something that should have happened a long time ago. Some path that had been derailed or stuck had been reshuffled and recentered. So wherever you're at is exactly where you're supposed to be at. It's actually where you were supposed to be at before. And the universe reorganized the energy in a way so that you would get there regardless of what decisions you made. I often see people very nervous to make the wrong decision. I don't want to make the mistake. Let me tell you something. There's no mistake. There's no wrong decision. You're going to get there regardless. And if you really fuck this shit up, the universe will reorganize it and get you there anyway. Okay, so don't worry about having to know all the answers or everything having to be perfect. Just go with it. Go with it and flow with it. It's much more exciting to learn and to grow during times where you don't know anything about anything. Because that's when you're the most open and the most vulnerable and the most receptive to actually growing. Instead of just trying to be the same person you've always been, you feel me? Okay. So I want you to breathe through this energy here and take a couple of moments. And I'm just going to move through maybe some stagnant energy that is around you. Me and my sister Refocus, definitely check out our session that just came out on Refocus's channel, REPOCUS. We did a deck review as well as she came on a Ray Tarot. We did the weekly moon cycles. We were talking about when we are channeling or when we are using our intuitive skills or we're going and doing different kinds of practices, even going into spell work and things like that, to be mindful of the energy around you. And she explained it in one way and I explained it in another way. And we went into depth on the Patreon community. So if that's something you're interested in hearing about, you can head on over there to listen to the full session. But as we talked about these things, it just reminded me of how so many times people are not aware of the energy they're vibrating at or what is around them. Now, when you're new to the healing community, when you're new to the mystical or esoteric space, or if you're very superstitious, you might be driven with fear. Like, oh my gosh, something's out there, I'm afraid. But it's not like that. That's not really how things work. Really how things work is everything is always there at all times, okay? And things are vibrating at different levels, and it's like being in a crowd of people. You aren't talking to everybody. You choose who you have a conversation with, right? And everyone isn't trying to talk to you at the same time. They are having conversations with other people as well too. So think about it like that. Who you choose to have your conversation with is who engages you back. But if you don't know who to have a conversation with and you're tapping on everybody's shoulders, it starts to look a bit chaotic. And think of that from the energetic perspective too. Like if you're doing some type of manifesting work, if you're doing some type of offering, be very mindful and precise about who or what energy, collection of energy you would like to talk to or have a conversation with. And do your research and your understanding about these things, and don't be all over the place, okay? The term we like to use is don't dabble, and what that means is that you start to understand how to utilize these principles that we talk about in healing. So, for me, I'm an energy healing practitioner, so I utilize these principles in order to help people heal. You can take these same principles and use it to manifest. You can take these same principles and use it to do not so good things too. But be mindful, if you do many times where I'll meet people and I can tell, especially people who are not in these kind of mystical communities, I can see what's going on with them and I can see how they're in their own way, but I know that they're not in touch with themselves energetically to understand how to derail their patterns. And you don't have to be mystical or spiritual to be able to break a pattern. You just have to break a pattern. But when you start to understand what's happening, and it doesn't have to be in a mystical way, you can do it through common sense too. Common sense, I'm telling you, common sense is underrated because it'll take you far in life, baby. It really will. Even with common sense, you could say no. I say no to what's not working for me, and I say yes to things that are working for me. That's what the change is about. That's how you embrace, baby, sweetness, what works for you. That's all it is. Just say no to what's not and say yes to what is. But here's the thing. When you're so used to something, you're so used to a pattern, what's not working for you is familiar. So you'll confuse yourself and think that it is home or it is the right way. No. Your life isn't just happening to you. You're going through life and you're co-creating the life you want. So when you break a pattern, you gotta be able to say no and start saying yes to the things that are better for you, even if they feel like in the moment, like, ooh, this is scary. Which it'll look like that because you don't know. Whenever you don't know how something is going to turn out or how it's going to end, it could be scary. But that's where growth happens. That's where healing happens. That's where manifesting happens. So within this community and a lot of the things that we talk about and we work through, or if you're just simply enjoying the session, it helps to guide you on this path of co-creating your life. Life isn't happening to you. You co-create it. Even this life now, you're co-creating it. It's not just happening to you. You're not a victim. You're not in a position where, other people, it'll work out for them and it's not going to work out for you. No, that's not true. You create whatever reality. So if that's what you think, that's what you'll be at. But if you think whatever life that I want will be, if I believe in this life, internally, eventually, externally, it will show up. That's really how it works. And you know what? Look, let me tell you, it ain't that complicated. Common sense is underrated. Hard work and determination. Literally just having those two, you don't even have to work in the energetic way at all. But sometimes using these energetic principles helps us understand what's going on, especially when you hit a difficult time where it's like the heartbreak of transitioning on and letting something go. Whether it is an old hobby, an old passion, you're leaving a hometown, you're letting people go, you're moving away from your old sense of identity. That can be painful, but the pain isn't telling you to go backwards. It's just letting you know. It eventually becomes bittersweet. This is the process. This is how you know that those people, situations, circumstances were important at a time, but now you're going on to something bigger and greater and more expansive. So the pain is simply just a validation to say that whatever that was mattered. But that's not a good enough reason to stop yourself from going and propelling forward. Does that make sense? These are the concepts, babies. These are the concepts. So breathing through this. Now I want you to just go through some breaths and go through your chakra system all the way from the crown, third eye, embracing your change that's showing up. And even if it's tough, finding the glimmer of hope or the glimmer of light somewhere in that energy and holding on to it. And just breathing through that energy. Breathing through that energy. Breathing through that energy. And resting and letting it be. And allowing that to fill up those spaces in your energy and your heart. And just allow it to rest and be what it is. Rest and be what it is. Rest and be what it is. Breathing in and out and moving through that. Embracing this lovely energy and flowing and floating through it, knowing that the change is important, is patient, is nurturing, is kind, is persistent, and things take time. 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 They take time to heal. They take time to grow. And my favorite, which is taking time for clarity. That's my favorite. All of that matters. And all of that growth is there for you at any time and any moment. Well, family, you did a fantabulous job per usuals. And really sitting with this energy of embracing this change that's floating around you. Quick little reminder, like I was talking about, that Venus and Capricorn retrograde energy happening on December 19th. We're already in the pre-shadow period, so like you're already starting to feel it. On a Ray Tarot, I called it the season of the X's, but it's really not about that. It's really about these big concepts that we're talking about, like, the conversation of what is marriage, right? You know what I'm trying to say? So like, is the structure of marriage something that we should allow to be the same? Should we redefine partnerships? Like these big macro view conversations of things. Also, it is bringing out the energy of like a decade of the way that you have loved it coming to an end. So you're embracing a new wave of love and you're letting go of that old wave. And it really is about kind of like that bittersweet stuff of like being able to say, okay, bye, this is not working anymore. Embracing this new thing that even though you don't know how it'll work out, it'll work for you. So that's the energy coming up. Also, join the giveaway. This is Let's Celebrate December. I do the annual giveaway. You could win an energy manifesting session with me. This is taking your life to the next level. Whatever it is that you want to be able to accomplish and supercharge your life to grow and be in, we will work on that. So one person, December 28th, could win that. If you would like to win a spot in the 2022 Reiki Master Teacher Cohort, you can do so in the Patreon community. You just answer the same question over there. Again, the value of these things, hey, I'll be trying to give y'all a steal, you know what I'm trying to say? And also, I do the Reiki Master Teacher Cohort once a year. If you are a solitaire and you would like to do these trainings, they are available. But for the actual cohort where we meet, I do it once a year because for me it is very important to see and to work through and be there as all of my practitioners grow. And that's just something that I like to do. Just having that cohort be something very special once a year. So if things are shifting vibrationally, it's not going to be the same. But you already know that shift has been coming. You might have wanted that shift to come a long time ago, but it's now right around the corner. And that vibrational shift will give you the opportunity to change for your greatest good. So those goals that you have, those gifts, those dreams, they come to be. But they can only come to be if you shift, if you change, if you meet them, rather than expecting them to meet you. Don't expect your gifts to lower its vibrational frequency to meet you. Instead, raise your vibrational frequency to meet it. So let's just work through some of this energy. And just breathing in and out. And remembering everything that you love. And let's just pay some respect and smile at all of the life cycles that we have and that we've been through. You know, it is beautiful to be a child. It's beautiful to be a baby. It's beautiful to be a teenager. Beautiful to be an adult. Beautiful to be a senior. And beautiful to transition on to our next evolutionary path many, many years later, okay? All of that is very, very beautiful. You know, don't feel like you missed something somewhere. It was a beautiful experience. And now you're at a position to actually appreciate the beauty. And I give it from the has this been going for you? What have you been doing to connect energetically with that feeling that your greatest goal or your greatest dream would give you if it was accomplished? How do you breathe into that? How do you accept that energy for what it is? How do you release and let go of the things that do not serve you and do not work, and yet embrace all of those things that do work? All of those little moments, those little glimpses that life gives you of beauty. Just because you're born into, or you may be surrounded by something that you don't like you're like, I want so much more for myself, doesn't mean the universe doesn't send little glimpses of something beautiful during the process, always giving you an opportunity to hop into that beauty. And the people around you may not see it, only you can see it. You might tell them like, hey, look at that, and they're like, what are you talking about? Because they're not ready to see it. And what I'm talking about are opportunities. I felt like I was being very mystical. I was like, I'm talking about opportunities. I love how the universe works. You can manifest something into your life and realize that the difference between you getting it and you not getting it was just simply seeing the opportunities that were already in your face, or understanding that you can piece together anything that is out there to get to where you need to go. If people aren't ready for that change, that growth, they might expect things to look a certain way, and they may miss out on their opportunities, on their next step. So what do you notice that is appearing in your life for these opportunities? What do you notice? What do you see? What do you notice? What do you see? crazy around them is that. And it's hard to work against that, especially if you feel like you have to keep on coming into contact with others who are just you see it definitely in work too. People in work be having like weird situations. It's funny when you look at working environments because most of the time you would not be friends with these people in real life. Or like, what is the scenario that you would let this person lead you who is your manager? But this is what I noticed about middle management. They're all stressed out. They're all stressed out. And oftentimes you will see their parenting style or how they wanted to be parented or what, like you'll see those dynamics in the way that they lead you. I'm not even gonna say the leadership style. I'm gonna say the parenting style. I've seen adults throw temper tantrums because they're in a position of power. And they also know that if people put them in a position of like middle management power, but at the same time they don't feel valuable because they feel replaceable, that same energy, unless they are strong enough to break that cycle and make those underneath them or those that they are managing, make them feel supported, that's just going to come down and trickle down to them. And nothing's really going to happen from it. Not to go on a work tangent, but it happens. I wouldn't be surprised if those kind of themes are popping up now. I had a director one time. She was something else. She could start crying at like the drop of a hat and then quickly switch to like being irritated by something. She yelled at me one time for something that had to do with paper, right? And so when it comes to me, I should have told her off, but instead I just embarrassed her. She was just getting all flustered and I was like, the paper's in the room, blah 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 blah. She's like all over the place. I'm like, the paper will still be in the room, so when you're ready to go get the paper, it's in the room. And like, she got flustered and walked off. I was laughing. I was laughing so hard, but it's funny because later on we had a meeting and she was like, you know how I get? I'm like, yeah, you feel guilty because, sweetheart, you made a fool out of yourself. Calm down. Looking for a ream of paper should never be that serious, ever. But some people are not in control of their emotions, or actually it's not even not being in control of their emotions. People are not in control of their impulses. I think that's a better way to put it. And it's especially in those environments where they're not being checked. Oh well. Bless her heart. That's what my grandma used to say. Bless her heart, which is code for that person got problems. No, I feel like it's code for they so pitiful. I loved it when old people were shady. I feel like they still are, but like they would be shady, but when you were younger you didn't necessarily know what they were talking about. Like my grandparents used to have this saying, when they wanted to be shady, they would be like, oh, she got long hair, right? But they wouldn't even say it like that. They would be like, she got long hair. And I would be looking at the girl and I'm like, she don't got no long hair. I don't know what that means. Like, what are they talking about? And really, they were shading the idea that this, like, think about hair, story short, I love when old people talk shit. I love it. I love it because it's like it's guilt-free, you know. Not really if they're being discriminatory, but like just little shady things like your shoes look horrible. Oh my gosh. If an older person told me that my shoes look horrible, I would bust out laughing. I don't know why. I don't know why. That's just me. Look, you learn a little bit more about myself. I'm going on a tangent. My grandmother, not the grandmother I was talking about, my mom's American mom, she would talk trash about somebody up and down. She could just embarrass someone, and I'll never forget the way that she would just read, like she would read them. There's like the saying, read them for filth. She would read them. She would read a situation. And I just remember also being a child and just thinking it was the funniest thing ever. Because you wouldn't expect her to do it. But she could embarrass the mess out of you. And one time, she was coming to pick me up. And I like lived in like an attic, right? And she came all the way up the stairs. And her name is Jet too. And she said, Jet, come on, we gotta go. I said, what we gotta go for? She said, I done ran my mouth. We gotta get out of here. And so those moments, I said, oh, okay, well, let me get my keys. We gotta get out of here. So I say all of that to say, I don't know what that has to do with change, but you know, I'm painting smiles, so hopefully this story brought some nostalgia or just made you feel good, you know. But family, we hung out today. We did a little chit chat today. This was really cute and funny. Cute little story time. But with all of these dreams and these goals, I don't ever want you to confuse setting So go ahead and start with some breathing and just some relaxing, kind of sinking in wherever you're at, and just like, just let it go and be at peace with the journey, with yourself, with the experience, with this lovely energy that you have in front of you, and just rest, just rest. Feel free to fall asleep. Feel free to reflect on your day. Feel free to do whatever it is that feels right to you and feels connected in your particular experience. Feel free. Okay. So I'm just opening, creating space, creating balance. So, what is the life that you have? What is the life that you have? What is the life? And what life do you want? What direction are you going in? What is the direction that serves your highest vibrational good? Okay? Because sometimes, we want something better. We don't know how to get there. Then we go through the work of learning how to get there. And then getting on that path, you have to let go of who you were. Because there was a point in time that who you were served best for who you used to be. But now who you're going to be, who you want to be, who is really truly yourself, is something that you have to open up, and you continue to open up. This is something that's going to be happening for your life, but you just open up a little bit more and receive a greater connection to this beauty and this love that surrounds you in all things. So if you're into numerology, I think this is a really fun time to look at your life path numbers. The way that you can calculate your life path numbers would be, you take the 2 digits of your month, the 2 digits of your day, and the 4 digits of your year, add them all up. Okay, and when you want to add all of the numbers in one and keep on adding whatever answers you get until you get to a single number. There are 3 numbers that if you get that number, there's so many things to learn. You know, I'm hoping that I'm going to be a different person in the next year or 5 years. I'm probably going to have the same personality, but I would at least like to feel like my mindset has constantly been expanding and growing, has constantly been moving in a direction for my highest vibrational good. So I try to keep an open mind to that. And do you give yourself permission to live up to your highest expression of you? No matter how things used to be, do you give yourself permission to live up to the highest expression of you? I hope so. You know, rewrite your life. Sometimes I think it's really nice to kind of write it down, what you want or what you're gonna do. I'm gonna show you something. My partner gave me this. She just gave me like this book. And I just write, you know, I've always journaled. I've always journaled my thoughts, whether it's on computer or just like pen and paper. Sometimes I have a feeling, and that feeling I can convey best typing it out or like writing it out. And yes, I can type with my nails. People always ask me, how do you type? Same way. It's regular. I just can't do those old, you know, the pop-up keyboards, like the old school keyboards. No, I gotta have a flat surface because I can't. I was at Refocus's house and she's like, use the computer. I can't get it. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So just having that journal, and once I have a feeling, sometimes I'm like, oh, this will really feel good if I, you know, let this thought play out by writing it. Or usually if I have to say a lot or have a lot on my mind, I'll like to type it out. Sometimes I'll just delete it afterwards. I just gotta get it out. Or sometimes I'll save it to watch it later. But one of my favorite things to do is to go back and look at my old journals, because a lot of them have a lot of goals. And one of them, I didn't even realize that I already reached the goal. I had said in a previous role I had that, you know, this will be the last place where I'm working for someone else. And then I reached that goal and I didn't even think about it because, you know, I'm on to other goals. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. And then I had another one where I was looking at the amount of subscribers on YouTube. It was at like 234 or something like that, like some number there. And I remember how hard I was working. And then restart your life path. Whatever that is, that today, right now, in this moment, you can have it. Whether it's you like the path you're on and you're like, yeah, I'm about to just, give this a boost. Or you're just ready for a change. Or you felt the change coming and you're just waiting for the moment. Waiting for the moment, the moment, the moment, the moment, the moment, the moment. Whatever it is, surrendering to you. 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 And being open to the freedom that you are in control of your experience. No one can make you feel any way. You decide how you feel. You decide who gets the privilege of being around you. You decide how you interpret the information. Mother, Father, God, and all for the highest vibrational good only. Please connect us to our highest intentions and validate information from our highest self only. Please release what we need to let go and embrace what allows us to grow. Let our journey encompass the lineages, traditions, religions, and spiritual paths that bring light out through us to share with others. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay. So, just relaxing into that. And let's talk about Uranus. Now, Uranus rules the sign Aquarius. Uranus is one of those outer planets that before high-powered microscopes we could not see past Saturn with the, naked eye. And because of that, in the beginning, all of the signs were assigned to 2 signs to each planet except for Leo, which was the sun, and Cancer, which is the moon. Everything else was assigned to 2 signs to a planet. And we still have that today if you look at Mercury, where Mercury has both Virgo and Gemini. Now, Uranus took on Aquarius. Aquarius actually is traditionally ruled by Saturn, and you can see that where Saturn, Capricorn is the old and Aquarius is the new, but it's everything of the discipline, the consistency, and the pushing forward of what you want. Now, with Uranus is all about the revolution, shock, and awe, and it just has a no-nonsense approach to we're getting there. I think the best way to explain Uranus would be when we see social justice issues and we think to ourselves, like, that's so crazy that this is still happening today. And then you think to yourself, there's no reason why this should still happen today. But the old energy that is, it's just the norm, the hegemonic way of things going says, well, this is how it's always been. But Uranus says, who cares? Who gives a fuck? Just because it's always been that way does not mean it is okay for it to stay that way. We change it now, okay? And you saw that a lot these last couple of years, people really resisting the change of equity, unfortunately. So Uranus brings that within the energy. Historically, you see a lot of revolutions that are happening during that time. You see a lot of revolts, and the revolt is always from the population. It's never from a hierarchical standpoint. It's always from the social infrastructure wanting to kind of equal out the playing field. So that's Uranus. So shock and awe, revolution. It's like shaking something up, like we growing now, we get in there now, we doing that now. That's that Uranus. Now, Uranus and Taurus is actually really interesting. I want to say maybe like 2 years ago, I was talking about this a lot. As soon as it went into Taurus, I was like telling everybody, like, hey, be mindful. So in a very general way, some of the common themes that have come up during this time, it has everything to do with money. The volatility of cryptocurrency is definitely seen through Uranus and Taurus, because the last time Uranus was in Taurus, we had the Great Depression. And to explain that, prior to the Great Depression, it was the first time in U.S. history in which you had consumer-based credit cards. While you could, prior to that, get a line of credit, the accessibility of this Uranus and Aries, in which credit became completely available and it was very showy and all that stuff, led to the crash of the stock market, because people were not able to pay back that, or you buy based off of credit, but that doesn't mean you actually spent any money on it. And so Uranus and Taurus had everything to do with the shock and awe of practicality. Now today, the difference is Uranus and Taurus. Number one, you want to get out of debt as quickly as possible. I'm telling you, babies, you want to get out of debt as quickly as possible, because the astrological opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. Scorpio has everything to do with debt, inheritance, and even more of the kind of mystical things. But money flows after, simply because you are vibrating at a frequency that is best for you and greatest for your highest vibrational good. You are removing all of those internal obstacles in order to attract into your life what it is that you're looking for. So everything about self-worth. And so if you happen to be very critical of yourself, if you happen to have had like a lot of kind of fucked up shit happen to you in your life, and you might think less of yourself unconsciously, maybe consciously you're like, you did your best, but subconsciously it's a little bit tough for you. These are always opportunities for you to go and review and just be super sweet to yourself, super understanding, and correct that change. Because whenever you're correcting a habit, it is not easy. It feels foreign. It feels like, oh, I've never done this before, and that's the point. You do not want to be an autopilot your entire life, because a lot of the things that you learned early on, you get stuck there, and some of it not so great. Not so great. So feel free to kind of rejuvenate the self as you go through it. So as I said, Uranus entered into Taurus 2018, and it's going to be there until 2026. Uranus will be going into retrograde in Taurus in August 18th, 2021 to January 22, 2022. So pretty much, a little bit less than half a year. And again, I want you all to think of these retrograde periods as beautiful times. There's so many times that I see people just folding, occasionally myself included, because those Mercuries be hitting me hard because I'm Mercury ruled. But like, so many times I see people just folding under the retrograde. I don't want this, I don't want this. You don't want to take the time to go in and make sure that you're okay. You don't want to check in with yourself. Sweetheart, if you don't check in with yourself, ain't nobody else gonna do it. You want to be out here chasing dreams and goals that maybe are not for your best, maybe might be built out of insecurity or built out of doubt. No, you want to clear and cleanse that shit out, and you want to be chasing what it is that you feel like God, the universe, source, or whatever it is you believe in has you here to do. So, embrace that, especially with Uranus. Uranus is like, come on, let's do this. We about to do the damn thing. So that's the energy you should definitely keep in mind as you are going into that space. Now, as I've said before, with the other planets, you definitely want to think how this impacts your particular Uranus. Are you born with Uranus in Taurus? Are you born with Uranus in Capricorn? Are you born in Uranus in whatever? Because if you understand how you were born, what your Uranus is in your natal chart, you will understand your natural disposition, and then you can work better with adapting these certain themes while Uranus is in Taurus. So maybe your Uranus is in a water sign, and Uranus being in an earth sign is different. So you have to think about it a little bit. Okay, this is what I naturally feel like, but this is how I can kind of structure this to make the energy work for my greatest benefit. Also, understanding your houses, what your Uranus is in your natal chart versus what is the Uranus transit making in your, what transit is Uranus making in your chart today. And you only know that if you know what time you were born, and you only know that if you know what time you were born. So if your Uranus is in Capricorn in the second house, your energy there is that Uranus and Capricorn surrounding second house themes, which actually represents Taurus. But if it is transiting your fourth house, it means that Uranus, which is in Taurus, so I'm using the example of Uranus and Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus will share a vibrational frequency because it's an earth element. It's not necessarily the enterprising aspect of Capricorn. It's more of like the self practicality. But it being in the fourth house versus the second house is your self-worth, whereas the fourth house has everything to do with family. So it's going to be transiting things that have to do with your family. So understanding your natural disposition to the to your Uranus in the house and there. So I hope it doesn't make it way too complicated. I've definitely been interested in astrology for a very long time. It was kind of the first modality that I really took to, and what I learned Well, sweetness, that means the change that you need is happening, is on its way, or it's already arrived. And you just have to be a badass about it, okay? You got to rise to the occasion and be like, I'm here, baby. I'm here to collect my coins in a Taurus fashion. You're here to collect your flowers. You're here to collect your praise, especially with this Leo energy coming up with this Leo season. You're here to collect, okay? You're here for things to be what it should be, not just based off of how things have always been, okay? And it's a leveling up of your energy, a leveling up of your soul. But if you're too afraid to let go of the past, unfortunately, this will feel like calamity. But if you like, baby, just tell me where to go, I'm gonna be there. You're going to move very quickly, very fast in a direction for your highest vibrational good. Hello. Peep game, baby, peep game. Peep game, my loves, okay? Just know that the energy that is surrounding you is one of higher vibrational energy, one of peace, one of balance, but one of change. And when you want to make change, that's why I like to give the example of the systemic change. When you want to make systemic change, it is not easy. So when you are making that internal change, of course it is not easy. You have those patterns that you always have, or you might have pushback from around you, or it's just tough, and sometimes it's time to boss up, and sometimes it's time to boss up and just be like, I be that. So I hope this Uranus energy inspired you, okay? Also understanding that as we are nearing the end of Go Get It July, I gave a check-in to the Patreon group, because on Patreon we had extra support on that. So that's what we do on Patreon. We do extra things. And what became very apparent was this was a transformative time internally, and it is easy to value external progress over internal progress, not realizing that if the internal is in balance, the external will not blossom and or bloom. The internal is your foundation. If you have a weak foundation, everything will fall. That's real life. If you have a weak foundation, particularly, I want you to pay attention. If you know what time you were born and you know what house your Uranus is in, if you have a weak foundation in any of that energy in that house, let's say it has to do with the 8th house, so Uranus is transiting your 8th house and you have a lot of debt, baby, the foundation will fall out of it and you will be feeling this like debt collector. Or if you have some interesting stuff going on there, you might be taking on other people's debt or inheriting other people's debt. So you want to make sure you have a strong foundation to protect you against things like that. You take it over to the 4th house, and maybe you might inherit a lot more responsibilities of nurturing and caregiving and things like that. So you want to make sure that you have a good relationship with, first of all, taking care of yourself, second of all, setting boundaries, and third of all, following through for what it is that you need to do, and delegating. So it just depends on what house it's in, but anything with a weak foundation will fall out. If it's transiting your 7th house, if you have relationships with a weak foundation, it's gonna fall out. If it's transiting your 1st house, which is also the house of your rising sign, your ascendant, that energy, it talks about your how you see yourself. So you might feel like, oh my gosh, having like a whole identity crisis. Do me, Yamoja, Oshun, Mawu, and all the Taurus. Please connect us to the archangels, spirit guides, animal guides, our lineage, and all of our highest vibrational good only, rooting us down in our individual healing experience and bringing us together as a community. I say all of this in the name of I am Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Well, I hope you enjoyed our session yesterday. Now we are looking at the path as a whole, allowing it to wind in and out, to shape this way and that way. So much, 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 so much goes into that, and I think that that's okay. The path looks different, but really what it is it's just like it's a new time to explore and look at new new stuff. So why not? For me, the path has really been trying to live life more. Trying to enjoy life more. I could really think all day, but there's so much of life to be living. I'm really, really big into goals, and I told myself, take a chill pill and just live life. But in trusting the path, it comes in many ways. Sometimes things feel a little bit scary, especially when you're at the border of something, you're like, over here. And everything in life is just an opportunity to push that border a little bit further into this unknown territory of our feelings, of our connection, of our energy, and to balance out. What I was talking about prior was letting go of the things that you had learned, that you were deeply programmed to have, and instead filling it up with your own wisdom, your own understanding, your own sense of security today from those things that you may have learned way back when. So, what is your path? 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 And we can even connect this into your passion. What gets you up in the morning? What puts a smile on your face and motivates you to do this or do that? What is your passion? Passion. So for those who don't know, let's go ahead and just open up a little bit. Creating space here. Creating an opportunity to see what it might look like. To see what it might feel like. Okay. And for those who need just a little bit more confidence in their passion, we can take this moment to open up so that you are receptive to what's coming in, what's coming in, what's coming in, what's coming in. Okay. And for those who's like, I know what it is, okay, I just need this and that to happen. So let's clear and give you the vision and the sight or the resources, the access to whatever it is that you need to make your path flow, to connect it to your passion. The path is like the road, and the passion is like the motivation that gets you on the road. Very much so hand in hand, floating in a direction. That's how I walk. That's my walking. So floating in a direction. So as I have been talking about, a Mercury retrograde in Gemini is coming up towards the end of the month. And because that's coming up, we are going to be not only looking at, do you trust yourself? Because I had talked about before the energy of going from Taurus in that a little bit of retro energy in Taurus, moving into that Gemini energy, which went from, do I deserve this? Am I worthy? That's Taurian kind of theme. To the Gemini themes of, do I trust myself? Gemini energy is all about self-image. How you view yourself, how you are perceiving yourself. And because of that, it is all about mastering the mind. We know that both Gemini and Virgo are Mercury ruled. Mercury is very mental in the fact that Gemini are connecting the dots emotional wellness in order to get somewhere, I think is kind of a toxic idea. I do believe there are times where you gotta put a lot of effort in, but that's sustained throughout an entire person's life. Then you get people who spend their whole life trying to build something up and then have no friends or no family connections, or have these weird situations in which their friends are highly dependent on what they can do for them, all that kind of stuff. No, balance. Because most of the time, most people are just chasing 15 ideas when they only need one. And if you just focus on that one, you'll be good. You might be like, oh, well, how do I know what the one is? Whatever it is that is your passion, whether it is ups and downs, that's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. Period. Period, period, period. That's it. But I find that having all of that excess time and not having something to fill it up leaves the mind feeling like, whoa, 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 what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen? When in actuality, it's just creating more space for you to live life. To really follow your passions and to enjoy your passions. To wake up and to look at it and not feel the pressure that it has to be instantly this or instantly that, but just allow it to free flow. Allow your creativity to connect into it. Allow it to be an expression of you. Everybody is creative. They're creative in different ways. Creativity looks like a whole lot of things. And because creativity looks like a whole lot of things, just allow yourself to take the pressure off. A lot of times I see people trying to live up to a standard that they perceive that society is putting on them, rather than just being to themselves. Because these people typically aren't even like afraid to do something. No, if a problem comes their way, they'll go hop into action. But it's that quiet time in the mind. That's really what that Mercury in a retrograde in Gemini is going to be reviewing. That quiet time. What do you say to yourself in those quiet moments? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every quiet moment has to be a situation where you're like, oh, hello you, again, you're fantastic and da-da-da-da. No, it just could be like, are you creating a space where you're like, hey, do you want to try this today? Or, I think that I want this today, or something like that. Like actually having that kind of different energy that is connected into the experience. So, what is your path? And how are you going to do it? You got 24 hours in a day. Oh, great quote I heard. I've actually said it before. People overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Meaning, people take on these big initiatives and they want to get everything done in the day. And when that doesn't happen, they abandon that. And then they kind of just let go of the year, the week, the month, the quarter, and all of that kind of stuff. When it's just like, be a little bit more realistic. Give yourself time for your happiness, your relaxation, your working hard, your time to spend with the people that you love, like all of that energy, and just allow it to be, and just relax. Relax, relax, relax. And this is a moment for you. Create a wideness so that you can just focus on you, so that you can be happy and whole and healthy and feeling good. So let's just move this over. Move it over. It is a smile a day. So as you know, I'm paid in smiles and likes. So if you like the session, please feel free to share it trust your passion, you know. The reason why you get up in the morning is important, but what is more important is what keeps you motivated. I always love to look at I always love to read autobiographies, and even looking at biographies of things. I love nonfiction. I'm working on reading more fiction. It's a struggle because I just read nonfiction, and what I really like about it is not what inspired someone to start, but what keeps somebody there. Because anything interesting can spark anyone, but it's really what keeps you there that makes it really, really interesting, that makes it really, really substantial in the experience that comes, you know, across in life, in this path for you. This is your path, okay? So if there's any resistance, any insecurity, really peel back those layers. You can check out the previous video of Trust Yourself to do some peeling back of the layers. And even more than that, who are you? You know, who is the you that you tell yourself that you are? Because no matter what you do, if you do not shift that, everything else will just be this uphill battle. There's nothing wrong with working hard. You need to do something. That's kind of like planting, you know, you're planting, you're growing, da-da-da-da-da. That's hard work. But can you imagine if you have to do that on top of, you know, agonizing of, well, will the plant actually grow? Is this the right climate? Is this the right seed? There's just some